Uh, we teach dealers to copy driver's license for the requirements of the U.S. Patriot Act and the Red Flags policy. Could you share from your point of view the importance of this as possibly related to identity theft, and then also the proper handling of these copies of driver's license once we copy them?
Excellent. It's an important part of the transaction, is verifying who you're dealing with. I mean, there are any number of reasons. Somebody's test driving a vehicle, we'd like to think you're asking them to show proper driver's license so they have it. There's a couple parts of this. The one part is securing the information that you have. I mean, a copy of a driver's license has a lot of personal identifying information that can become very detrimental to that person if it got into the wrong hands. So as a dealer, it is really important that they properly secure that information. If they make a copy of it, that's kept in a locked file, that's kept in a locked safe. I mean, it's just as important as a motor vehicle title as far as we're concerned. If it's stored electronically, that there's measures to not allow someone else to get into that file, into that folder. If it's in the cloud, what are the security behind it? I would highly recommend dealers asking if they have various internet providers and things they're working with and they're storing information in the cloud, that they ask, what are the security measures behind this? Because the last thing I think a dealer would want is just somebody to get into that file and get a hold of all their customers' copies of their driver's license, because that information is crucial. When the copy of the license or ID card is no longer needed, we recommend obviously shredding that information and making sure it's properly disposed of so no one can get their hands on it. The other part of this whole issue, and I work a lot with the lenders, banks, credit unions as well, that have concerns with making copies of things. There's not a lot of focus given, though, on actually authenticating what they're being presented. So there's a lot of emphasis on, you need to make sure you have this for the auditors. If they come in, they want to see that you verified identity. But there's not a lot of emphasis given on what should a dealer be looking at if someone hands them a Missouri driver's license, for example. How do I know if it's counterfeit or if it's genuine? I'll be honest with you, I've done a lot of work with the universities here where they unfortunately get a lot of counterfeit driver's licenses. And I can tell you, for myself, being well trained in how to authenticate licenses, the counterfeits today contain holographic images, laminates, security features such as ultraviolet ink, microprinting, high quality barcodes that read. They're very, very good. And for just a normal person to look at one of those licenses, especially if it's out of a state that you don't typically see, it's very difficult to decide, is this really a genuine document or not? So from a dealer's standpoint, I think they have a responsibility not only to make sure that they're making copies, but to have some basic knowledge of what they should be looking for. Now, there's resources available. There's ID checking guides through the Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, AMVA. There's training that dealers can get. It's a learning management system training that they can purchase where they can actually learn and teach their staff how to authenticate identification. There's a new program that Iowa just recently signed on to with AMVA called the Driver's License Data Verification Program, where a dealer can just very simply log into a website and plug in the information that's been presented on an Iowa driver's license. Within about 2 or 3 seconds, a response comes back and will say that information verifies with the DOT or does not. So there's things that dealers can do today to better educate them and to better safeguard themselves, who they're dealing with, who they're interacting with, who they're allowing to finance, more than just making a copy, which is important, but it's learning to make sure that what the person's presenting is really truly a genuine government driver's license. We've, unfortunately, with all the transactions that happen interstate today, we see more and more fraudsters that they're creating counterfeit titles or creating counterfeit driver's licenses to match those identities. And if they can come into Iowa and make some quick transactions and walk out the door with a new vehicle, or even just selling their vehicle with false information, I mean, it's a huge detriment to the dealer to be stuck with something like that. So we strongly encourage resources. We'll certainly make those resources available to the Iowa Independent Auto Dealers Association so they can be made available to the members as well.